episode 2. I'm Blaine Jeffery with Hero Magazine, and I am here with my co-host.
I'm Andrew Salvador from Team Camfly and Cabo Flyboard.
Mike Prince from Team Canfly. And we also have with us today Mr. Ronnie Feise, who Ronnie started as a fitness instructor, believe it or not, and he's a skilled stonemason. Ronnie's also owner-operator at Hydro Rockets out of Houston, Texas, and this man is one mean competitor. He certainly lived up to the name Punisher.
Mm-hmm. And we also have Scotty Knemeyer with us today, out of Oahu, Hawaii. Lucky bastard. And yeah, so Scotty is a pro rider. He's with Defy Waterflight, and today we're going to be talking about all different sorts of hydroflight devices, different things that we've tried as pro athletes, and what we think about how the sport's going and the different kinds of devices that we have out there. So let's just quickly get a little bit of background on you guys. Scotty, if you want to get us started, just letting us know how you got into the hydroflight world.
Well, how I got into the hydroflight thing was I was actually looking for a job. Kind of just was looking around, and it actually popped up on Craigslist. So I was like, this looks like fun. I kind of Googled it, what is it about, and like flyboarding. Oh, I've seen a video of this before. Obviously, that most popular video that came out a long time ago caught my eye, and I was like, oh, I have to apply for this job, because I was just looking for a summer job for fun, nothing too serious. Went out there, just started teaching, and then on my spare time, like every bit of extra cash I had, I was dumping in the gas tank to try to go out and fly after work. Like, boss was like, go for it, man. Anytime you want, just put some fuel in it. So I get out, you know, once in a while, I get about an hour a week or something like that. I get out there, fly, just to kind of get the basics down. I didn't really have much to base it off of because it was so new. Like, they didn't have a tutorial on how to fly. So I was just kind of YouTubing videos and watching other people, kind of trying to pick up on how they do it, and kind of just went from there. And then from there, I moved out of Washington State and moved into Hawaii, and kind of took it from there. Took the sport from Washington State all the way to Hawaii, and started kind of doing a little bit of training over here just on some spare time. And I was super stoked about trying to land the double backflip. That's pretty much what made me popular, I think. There was only a few guys that had anything posted online about doing it, and I watched it for days. Aaron Gold and Frankie and all them doing it, and I just watched it. I was like, I gotta get this thing done. Nobody else is doing it hardly. I was like, this thing looks cool. And so pretty much just did that, put tons of time into trying to figure that out. Once I landed it, posted the video, and then from there, it was pretty much Daniel Kaufman got a hold of me about that video. He's like, dude, you have to compete in North American Championship. And from there, I was like, I didn't even know there was really competitions yet or anything. So kind of was super stoked. I tried to get some money saved up and make it all the way down there to Toronto. And then from there, yeah, it just kind of blew up. Just wanted to keep doing it. Just progression is kind of always been a thing I've loved to do, and that's what this sport's all about, is progressing. It's never stale. There's always something new coming out, so everybody's trying to top everybody. So I like the challenge. I love just the competition and meeting everybody. Like you guys, met you guys all there. Wouldn't be here without you guys. So yeah, kind of just sticking it out.
Right on, man. Yeah. Sounds good.
What about you, Ronnie? Give us a little background.
I've learned about flyboard from a friend. Showed me a YouTube video, and I knew immediately when I saw the video that I had to have one. Then I just had to figure out how I was going to make that happen. 5 months later, and probably 1 million views of the maybe 1,000,001 views that were on the video at the time of Frankie flying, I got my board. And from there, I started a rental business to make it make sense for me to own it. And just got as much flying time in as I could, and then saw that there were submissions for the World Cup, and I had just started finally figuring out how to land a backflip. Didn't have much confidence, but said, hey, what the heck, why not send a video in and see what I can do. Got invited to go to Doha, and it's just been fun ever since then, competing and just getting to ride all the different devices and just seeing the sport go from what seems like started decades ago. Only being 2 years, it just is crazy to see how far it's come in such a short period of time.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
You guys have done, there's been massive progression from the competitions. I remember 2013, Ronnie, meeting you in Qatar, and just the flying that we saw you know, across the board there, and you think about it now, it's not even the same sport, right? It's crazy. And obviously one of the things we're going to touch on now that we you know, we got a little background on you guys is just you're in a unique situation. The reason we wanted to get you guys on the show was that both you and Scotty have had a chance to do quite a bit of flying on various devices, you know, on the fixed X flyboard, the Legend, and we just want to learn a little bit more about you know, how these experiences, how they differ, how they're similar. I'm sure people out there that haven't flown a lot of the different rides, they're curious to kind of see what can you do on these different boards, and just how they compare. So I don't know if you randomly want to just, you know, go back to the beginning again and start with just how it feels to fly the Flyboard Legend versus then the next board you got to, or the next step. Scotty, maybe start with you. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely have a pretty good experience on the Legend from the 2012 board. That's pretty much what I started on for the longest time. That fixed board, before I even knew anything about independent feet, I mean, that thing was amazing to me. Like, I thought that board was, you know, you couldn't get any better. But once they started splitting the feet up and I started getting the movement of there, and I've tried to transfer back, I can't believe some of the tricks that we were doing on those fixed boards. I'm like, how we were tweaking our bodies to force that board to do the things we were doing. Like, it was intense. Like, now that I go back and look at what we were doing on that versus it's zero effort now on the independent feet. So with the fixed board, let's say it's a good platform to start people on. But then now that it's progressed and there's so many companies coming out new boards, it's, like I said, it's just like the Flyers, it's progression. Like, everybody's looking for the best unit that's going to fit them the best. Obviously, like, you got on X-Jets, you got, you know, the Finley brothers and stuff. So, and those guys are killing it on that. You got, you know, Jordan, and you got whole Aquafly team. Everybody that's pretty much on the new Flyboard, their guys are just killing it. So, I mean, pretty much it's everybody's starting to find their own path now to which board and type of equipment's going to work best with them. I've migrated to Defy. Like, I like the independent feet with the third axis setup. To me, I think that's a flowing board for me. It works really well for me. But like I said, everybody else on Aquafly team, I see them doing things still that I haven't been able to do yet. So progression, though, that's part of everything. The boards are going to just keep growing, and that's what I'm looking forward to, is just getting more power underneath the board, being more control, more flow. So yeah, it's just starting from the bottom. Like I said, I can't honestly, when I look about what we were doing back, like I said, on the fixed boards, that thing still just blows my mind with the things we were doing back on that to what we're doing now, today. Like, it's changed so quick in the last 2 years, so.
Yeah, history. And I had a long call with Shaw from X-Jets, and one of the points he made was it would be nice to sort of, he was going to help me actually create more of a spec list for these boards so that we could, like, A, B, C, right across, look at some of the different things, because for somebody like me, I don't appreciate the different weights. I don't appreciate some of the different subtleties between the design, because I'm not looking at them, I'm not holding them, I'm not seeing them up close and personal, you know? So I think that would be handy too. I think as you guys talk about these experiences from a rider perspective, at some point we want to get down and actually see what differentiates these products, you know, back to back to back. So, Ronnie, what are your thoughts, man?
Yeah, well, you know, just in comparison to the 2012 fly boards to the new model that came out, it's nuts the amount of progression. Like I said, in just a short period of time. You know, we've been training a lot on the separate feet board, you know, the 15 model fly board. And to even you step your feet back in a Legend board and it doesn't even feel right. Like Scotty was saying, you know, to do a corkscrew, it feels like there's so much effort involved. Doing stuff that seemed so easy in the past, just because you've learned to change your postures, you know, is difficult. So it's funny to see, but you know, interesting to see where it'll go from here. Just with you know, a subtle difference of splitting a board in half, how much of a difference that can make. And then, you know, seeing the different products like Jetivator, it looks like the guys over there are doing a lot to bring out new stuff and just different, you know, different products. The Shred Sled, the Buddy Vader now, and that's just a completely different product itself. I'm sure Scotty will speak the same with the Jetivator. The bike, it doesn't feel like a jet boot at all. It's a completely different ride. And then, you know, with Nick coming out with the third axis, again, that's just a completely different feeling compared to any even other jet boot device. So it's awesome that they all have their different subtleties that make them, you know, kind of unique to one another.
So, okay, on that note, I was just going to say again, what's the hardest thing? It's easy to look probably at the innovation and say it's made things easier, but what's maybe one of the more challenges, maybe Scotty, on that, say with the Defy board, the freedom and the balancing that it's given you might make something, you know, something else a little bit more challenging that you have to go relearn a bit. So what's sort of the learning curve there?
I would say kind of, but I mean, this is with the third axis. I don't see that really making it a challenge in any way to do any of the tricks. I think it's actually freed up a little less effort and being able to do your tricks in numerous spots to where you'd have to normally set up and choose your setup points and everything like that a little more. This one allows you, it's just got that little bit more freedom of flexibility, so it doesn't feel like you're getting kinked up as much. When you're doing a flip or something like that, you're not worried about the hose as much when you're coming around, because you like being able to slide a little bit sideways as you're setting up, not having to go straight up in the air like most people come down the water, set straight up, then they're worried about hitting the hose. You can pretty much be flying at any point in a circle or anything and just lay back and drop a flip. And you don't have to worry about it. It doesn't feel like it's yanking on your feet as hard because it's just got that little extra flex. It's not a ton, but that extra flex that you have in there, it just a little bit more freedom. I don't think it's actually decreasing anybody's to where they have to try harder to do a trick. But like I said,
thinking back to Ronnie sliding sideways in the first video. I thought I saw you, Ronnie, in one of the videos when you were first on the jet deck.
I couldn't stop
sliding, you were like sliding sideways, straight across, like whoa! Like
yeah, I mean, I didn't want to do anything but that my first time on it, and I think that, you know, that's like Scotty was saying. I don't know if it necessarily adds any limitation, but it gives the horizontal resistance. There is, you know, almost none, and that's what makes it different. But yeah, it just is such a cool feeling, you know, especially coming from a legend board and then being able to slide sideways. When I'm sure we've all experienced, you know, that knee lock of the older boards. It's just nuts to be able to feel that that horizontal resistance, you know, released.
Yeah.
No kidding. Me and Mike, we were both flying on the Pro Series board. Just this last week, it was my first time ever trying to board with independent feet when we were working on this Canadian record that we were working on over there. And yeah, it was one of the funnest things. Like, one of the things I wanted to try right away was trying to like kind of surf sideways, sort of riding it kind of like it really felt like you're going Back to the Future style, that you are on like the legit hoverboard, to like, you know, what people imagine when they used to think about that after seeing that movie and that sort of thing. Like, you really are flying sideways. Yeah, it's an incredible feeling. It was really interesting, and I have to say it weirded me out a tiny bit at first, just getting used to the independent feet, because I sort of forgot that I was on a Pro Series board. I came out of the water and I started like turning sideways and stuff. I was like, whoa, okay, take it easy on this thing at the start. But yeah, it was incredible. I felt that even though it was a little bit tough for me just to get out of the mindset that I'm on a legend board, on like a fixed board, and that my feet are moving, I found that I never got into a situation where I felt like I was going to wipe out. If I did feel a little off balance or something, it was surprisingly easy for me to get it back. And that's something I've heard a lot from rental places, is that for new people trying the Flyboard Pro Series compared to the Legend or a fixed board before that, people are, especially newcomers, are finding it much more natural and easier to balance too. You guys found that in your rentals too, or in the?
Yeah, most definitely. You know, it just seems like it is a more natural thing for people to be able to balance themselves by being able to, their feet being released. You know, for them to be able to kind of step over, if you will, whenever they feel that they're in that backwards position.
Mm-hmm.
What about the sort of the variable tension topic that's come up a few times? We have what I guess what we talked about, Scotty. We were doing that little back and forth on the Pro Series review article a while back, and we were talking about completely free feet versus this sort of semi-independent feet idea. A lot of guys are saying that they do like the idea of setting some sort of tension or releasing it over time as they get used to things. People talking about the Pro Series and the angle of the nozzles. A lot of times they're saying that they are adjusting them a little bit. So there's just these new. It's so brand new, right? You don't know how you're going to customize it. You don't know how you're going to set it up for your own personal liking yet. And so guys are just learning. But I didn't realize that the jet blade also had some kind of like system to create some tension so that the feet weren't completely free, because that was one of the things that I was wondering about, is that if they're so free and that's such a radical thing for guys, they might not feel confident sort of moving over to something like that and going big right away. But if you could kind of control the tension a little bit and bring yourself back to center a little easier, maybe that's a way to sort of get started on these things. What do you think about that progression, and is it worth it to consider that that's the way to evolve here?
Go for it, Ronnie.
Yeah, I can speak to that personally just because I've ridden the jet blade with the torsion bars on it, and I've also ridden the 15 board. Whenever we first got it, we released it, but we didn't loosen the tension all the way. I personally didn't like that it had a pull back to center. I would feel it open up, and then I would kind of get halfway through a spin, and it would want to close up. So I didn't personally like the flyboard with the tension on it. Maybe that was because I'm already used to separate feet, but I just didn't really like the feeling of it closing up on me, just because there was so much effort to keep it open. Now the jet blade, obviously with no torsion bars on it, it's those feet are completely separate of one another, and under a lot of power, that can get you spinning super fast. Now with those torsion bars on it, being that the feet are still completely independent and those torsion bars aren't, completely solid, you can flex your feet and it gives you that similar spin without a cork underneath it. But it's I guess it would be a good in between the fixed flyboard and a open new flyboard with a jet blade with the torsion bars on it.
Yeah, I wondered if it was sort of like just if you go back when the first flyboard came out with the arms, Frankie was talking about taking the arms off, might be a safety issue, and I'm not going to take the arms off right away. And then he got wind of the video that was made in Southern California or whatever, where they were just having a blast without the arms, and he saw that and he said, "Oh, okay, that's awesome. I think this is what I've heard anyway. I thought he was a bit led by them pushing it on him, like saying, hey, look what we can do without these arms. So then he started to move that way, and I wondered about this being a similar evolution where he's flown the other things. He feels a little bit, maybe he feels a little bit out of control on it. Like he wrote me and said something about, it's almost like walking on ice when it's totally free. Well, maybe that's him getting used to it, right? And then he goes and puts these safety measures in because he's got, massive customer base buying a lot of product across the world, and he's got to think to himself, okay, look, who's the majority of people jumping on this board right now, even if I call it a Pro Series, who's really jumping on this board, and what kind of customization and control do I need to give them? And so maybe it's just one of those logical sort of, from his perspective, steps between going and then finally getting to the point where he's like, yeah, okay, guys, here it is wide open. Now, he did say you can pull the springs out, and he can't endorse that, but you can pull the springs out and go fully free on the Pro Series if you want. But he was kind of like, he compared it to like the whole taking the IBR out of a Sea-Doo or something, and he says, you can do it, but, so I don't know exactly what that means to your, the safety and the warranty and whatever else on your products, but it's available if somebody wants to go do that. Is that going to make the difference? If that with the other advantages of a Pro Series board in terms of the weight, the new materials, the plastic, whatever, and then all of a sudden you go and remove that tension and you get freedom that you're looking for? Is that the next generation of that board? Is just taking those things off, maybe?
What's the having only tried that board myself personally, my concern with jumping on some of these other boards was that and to be honest, I thought the Pro Series was going to be the same. I thought any independent board did not have that pop-back motion. So that was one thing I liked when I jumped on the board. I was like, okay, I'm not going to be super out of control. I haven't tried any other ones. Scotty or Ronnie, what, like, do you, because that's my vision, feel out of control with that constant spin, with that power, as you're saying, Ronnie, or can you still kind of pull it back in balance and just something you get used to?
Yeah, I mean, it's something that feels natural. It's I almost laugh at the term death spin. It just, you know, we almost make fun of it just because you kind of heard it coined, but you naturally bend your knees and it stops spinning. It's not like you can get out of control and can't stop yourself. Now, mind you, can you make it spin super fast to where you can lose direction as to where you're at? Yes, very easy. But can you stop that still? Yeah, but I mean, can you stop it and keep your balance and not dive out? I don't know. That's why you don't spin it that fast.
Yeah.
You know, it takes a fair amount of thought to turn your feet to a point to where you spin fast enough to where you feel like you're out of control. So you know, when you see somebody flying like that, it looks like something that can happen really easily. But you know, like I said, it takes a bit of effort to really get your feet to separate like that.
Yeah. So you prefer that unlock, like that without the spring, so that you can go a bit faster?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, most definitely. There's no resistance. Yeah. And I'll say, you know, especially whenever you add that third axis to it with that spin, makes it a lot more smooth. Just because if you don't have the third axis and you try to generate that sort of spin, you either have to be heading in a you know, a direct line with the hose, or have the hose directly underneath you for it to be a smooth spin. And that, you know, that's again, my preference of separate feet is to have that third axis, just because, you know, it makes it that much more smooth.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What's the big trick, guys? I've seen some videos now. You guys are spinning into flips, Ronnie, and doing some really sick stuff. So the competition, like the first independent feat, I guess, even though it's on the Pro Series, the first competition coming up, maybe in Dubai here, with people doing some new variations on things that we've been waiting for. We want this to continue to evolve, and we want you guys to continue to evolve with your tricks. So talk to me a little bit. Don't give it all away, but you know what I mean. Let us know, what are you working on?
I shared a little bit with Scotty the other day. You know, we're trying some odd stuff. You know, you can move it around a little bit different. So you know, we're trying some different things.
You got it right sideways, aren't you?
I will tell you that, you know, riding other boards and kind of feeling the having that full freedom, and I mean, even riding the Jetivator, just getting comfortable with different stuff gives you a different level of comfort with having boots attached to your feet. You know, whenever you are holding a Jetivator in your hand and know that if you mess up, you're going down with the ship, and you better hold on to the ship whenever you go down with it. You know, whenever you strap a set of boots to your feet, it's not near as scary anymore. So, you know, we've just, like I said, you know, we've been just trying to take it to a new level of comfort and moving around.
Cool.
Yeah, Ronnie, actually, speaking of the Jetivator and that, you guys have tried those pieces of equipment out too. I've actually never tried that. I don't think Mike has either. What do you guys think about riding the Jetivator or riding the Freedom Flower? Have you tried that also?
I have, man. I love it personally. The Jetivator at first, you know, honestly, was a little bit scary to me at first. You know, just holding that device in my hand and thinking, man, I have to hold on to this thing. If I crash, I got something now. So it was a bit scary to me at first, but once I got comfortable with what to do with the handles, once I got myself in an odd spot, and I learned how to turn both directions, man, that thing's a blast. I'll take the Jetivator to the moon if there's a hose long enough. I feel that comfortable on that thing.
Fun, eh?
It is. And the Freedom Flyer, I mean, the hardest part about that thing is not just keeping laughing while you're riding it. I don't know if it feels silly or what, but it's crazy. You don't see anything. You're sitting in a chair, and all you see is your feet dangling. So that thing's a blast as well.
Like an eject seat from a jet fighter plane or something that you hit the button and now you got full control where you want it to go, but you have no seatbelt on also to hold your ass in. So when you go ripping a circle and you don't have good grip on that thing, it'll spit you right out up on your face. So.
Really?
Mind you,
I did it once.
Mind you, Scotty was spinning faster than an F5 tornado in that thing. So that's why slinging himself out of it.
I wanted to see what it would do, and it definitely showed.
Yeah, I will say that the Wounded Warrior events and the stuff that's going on with that product though is really fantastic. It's really awesome to see all those people getting the chance to experience the sport and fly. So that's cool though.
Absolutely.
We thought.
Any hoverboard thoughts or you know, a different stance, flying a different way? Have you guys been on that board at all?
I've flown 2 different products of hoverboards. Obviously, the ZR product. I flew that one first time. It was in Cancun, and then I went over to Cabo and flew it too. It was my first time. I flew it reverse, like normal footed, when I first went, so I didn't really get the full feel. I'm a goofy footed rider, so I was riding it backwards. So trying to learn on that was a little sketchy. But then once I got started flying it the right way, then I started feeling the control better. But then I kind of got to test a prototype that somebody's designing over here, and it's pretty much the same idea, but it's a surfboard strapped to it. And the binding setup was different on it, and I think that to me made a lot more control. It wasn't so you had to switch the bindings back and forth. Like most people that ride goofy, you got to switch it one direction. The other one, you don't. You didn't have to. The straps went straight across the board, so that it made it so pretty much you can switch either way without even adjusting the bindings. And it made me feel like I just had better footing in the board. It felt like with those straps, I was able to spin a lot faster and still have really, really good control. But it could have been that we were running a 5-inch hose. The 5-inch hose is going to be a little, and it was like an 80-footer, so it kept me away from the ski a little more, so I didn't have that in the back of my mind. Going up in the air at a really high, you start hitting 30 feet up in the air on a board, you're going standing straight on its tail and spinning real fast. You always got that in the back of your mind of, you know, coming towards it and landing on top, and Ronnie's knows about that, me flying the hoverboard, trying to do a 1080 on it, and last spin coming up on top of him almost, and we got a good picture of that, me looking down at him. I'm diving, nose going straight down towards him, and he's looking straight up at me like, oh crap, this is going to be so painful, and then he just shuts the gas off, and I just nose dive right in. Like, that board is very, very fun. They're all very fun, but I still think that board is dangerous, man. Yeah. When your feet come out of it, man, it's that thing, you don't know where it's going. For the driver, for yourself, but it is a blast. Like, I love riding it. I'm going to buy one just because I love it, like, so much.
I love everything dangerous.
I love the danger part. That's the factor. That's what draws me, I think, to this sport and progressing is the more progression you do, the dangerouser it gets. So that makes it so there's only so many nuts out there willing to do that. Like, I mean, that's kind of where it slows it down. Like, who's the champion? Like, who wants to push, you know, risk their life every time they're practicing that trick? Like, so, and that's what, like, with Nick and stuff is he's coming out with some other products to kind of keep you safe and away from the ski. I know the hose length for competition is still like 65 feet or whatever, but having longer hoses for practicing on just to get you comfortable doing those tricks and then slowly, shorten it, getting near the ski, I think would be a big deal for progression. It's kind of like having a foam pit for anybody wanting to try a trick. Like, you feel pretty confident doing a big trick you've never done before when you know you're not going to hit the ski. The water, everybody knows what that feels like. It hurts. It's not going to kill you, though. The jet ski, that's a little different story. So keeping away from that by having a longer hose just to get the trick nailed, get it down, and then shoot it back to whatever whatever's legal for the competitions.
Yeah, I think the competition hose is longer in Dubai. I think it might be 23 meter or whatever, the X Armor.
80 foot.
Oh, okay.
But I'd agree with you though. It makes a world of a difference not having to worry about that ski. Like, we've been on it this past week. I was doing some night shows, especially first time doing night shows. I'm like, I don't want to be on this white hose, man. I buck people off like crazy, and like I don't flip it, but I toss them around at nighttime. It's a bit scary. So to be on that other hose, it was so much peace of mind. I was doing whatever I want, wherever I wanted, not even worried about it. So I agree for sure.
Yeah, and also like the amount, like similar to what you guys were saying before, how you're loving boards where you feel like you have to put in less of a setup before you do a trick because of what you're going to do to the hose and ultimately to the jet ski. With that 80-foot hose, man, I really felt so comfortable throwing things out of positions that I definitely learned to try before for practice. Yeah, you got that extra bit of distance that just lets that coil in the hose ease out before it gets to the jet ski. That's huge.
What do you guys think about with all these devices? Do you think there's ever a time, never mind just the jet food devices, but do you think, share an idea maybe, of like what you think a competition might look like to bring all these devices together. Because I mean, it's a cool industry that's developing here. Is it only going to be the jet boots that are ever going to be together? We're going to be able to say, okay, let's create this competition where we throw everyone together and one choose your Hydroflight device and let's make it happen.
Battle to the death.
Do you have any visions on that?
I personally think that it could definitely be done. I think that it would kind of have to be categorized off in divisions, like a hoverboard or the prototype board that Scotty rode, that that sort of hoverboard division, a jetovator or a fly bike, like a jet bike division, a jet pack division, because there's a few different jet packs now, and then a jet boot division. I say that you would have different freestyle events for each of those, and then take the winner of each and do a big put everybody against everybody in one big freestyle grand finale.
Yeah.
I think that it can definitely be done. They all have their own unique differences that can, I think, compete against one another.
Yeah, I think we've heard that other than the jet boots, the other products all could race well against each other. You can race the jet packs at pretty high speed. You can race the bikes at pretty high speed. You can hoverboard at a pretty high speed. You can see one-on-one slalom sort of racing going on potentially. And also, the X-Jets thing recently in Thailand, they were playing around with the idea that they're bringing in inflatable obstacles, or basically creating an environment for you to do tricks in, so that it's not just a wide open body of water where you go do whatever you want to do. You have to kind of work with this environment that they create and go do things to it or around it or with it, and that might add a whole other element of interest as well.
Oh yeah, I think that's actually a good idea. It's kind of like the park course for skateboarders and stuff. There's different rails, different sloped of ramps, different style half pipes, spines, different things like that. That's definitely would be sweet to see some sort of floaty type thing that's maybe midair or something like that you can grab upside down or something like that and bank off of or something like that. That would be something that would actually make a sport really unique instead of just the basic flying, kind of what we're doing and just freestyling it. Adding some obstacles and some sort of things that you can grab onto or deflect off of or something like that. You can land on top real quick and then backflip off it. I mean, there's like so many combinations of things you can do. If you can start adding things like that, that would be awesome. Yeah, definitely.
Certainly attract a crowd too, with the diversity of things that could happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, guys, we're getting about 30 minutes here, and we wanted to keep it about this length. So I just wanted you guys maybe, just to wrap it up, what's on your schedule coming up? What do you guys got that's exciting that you want to tell people about maybe? Any shows coming up, anything coming up that you want to mention, or we just got to stay tuned?
Go for it, Ronnie.
Ronnie, maybe?
Right now, really geared towards working on getting ready for Dubai as the Flyboard World Cup. It's right around the corner. With my given situation, I had to submit a video, man, so I'm on the chopping block. So I've been putting time in, just trying to make sure that I can make the cut and perform well whenever I get there.
We're right there with you, buddy.
Yeah, my video got lost in the mail. Scotty?
I'm at the same thing as far as I would love to go to the Flyboard World Cup, but it's a sponsorship thing. Mine's a little bit more complicated. It's not as cheap as most people to get me over to Dubai. So I'm kind of in the same boat. I had a sponsor for a while, and once I kind of looked up the prices and stuff, and they realized, expensive as it was to fly me over there, it was, they already had a couple flyers already. I was just kind of going to be an extra bonus to add to their team. So I'm still kind of in the books looking for that. Here at the end of this October, I'm going back over to Tokyo to do another Red Bull show. So that's pretty sweet. I wish Ronnie would have been able to go there, but funds aren't quite enough this time. But I always like to keep that guy out flying with me all the time. It makes it a blast. So, but yeah, that'll be good. We'll go do that. I'm trying to get a show event set up over here at the Hilton Hotel. So that'll be nice to kind of, then I can start picking flyers from the mainland to come over and spend the time over the weekend. We can do a show with me. So hopefully in the next couple months I'll have that going, and I can kind of just whoever wants to come, raise your hand kind of thing, and just, you know, pick one person one person a week, come over and do some flying, and then you guys go back, get to hang out. So, yeah, I'm always looking to progress. I want to definitely get a team over here, so that's something to keep in mind. Everybody viewing, get a team over here in Hawaii. Anybody wanting to step it up and come join the team here, probably this after this winter goes through, I'll probably have it dialed in pretty good. So definitely something to think about.
Nice.
That's awesome, guys. Hey, thanks very much for taking the time to chat with us. I think it's been awesome to hear about these rides and certainly hear about how you guys have made the most with them, because we've seen a lot of awesome footage of you guys doing some serious stuff, and we're looking forward to seeing more.
Sweet.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, guys.
We'll let
Yeah,
everybody
thank you guys
know.
for watching.
Take care, guys. Bye.